Hey y'all, it's Courtney, and I am back with a video, and today's video is, I guess I've been doing a lot of serious videos, but today's video is really about something that happened a very long time ago. This year makes 19 years exactly since it happened, and anybody that's from the US, or even the UK probably, knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's 9/11, 2001, or September 11th, 2001. Um, a horrible, horrible day. So many lives lost. So much despair. But at the same time, it brought our country together like nothing else. You know, these days when craziness happens, everybody's just falling apart. But in that time, I remember a strong sense of coming together. Um, like I said, today we fight each other. You know, I wish I could go back to those days when a tragedy or awful things happening brought us closer instead of tearing us apart and making us fight each other instead of the real enemies or the real, bad people. Um, I have a feeling that if you're my age or even a few years younger than me, because I was 11 at the time, uh, you'll probably remember exactly where you were, what you were doing, how you learned about what happened. I'm sure you can remember a lot of details from that day because I have a horrible memory and I remember so much about that day. For me, a few days prior, I didn't go to school that day because a few days prior, um, well, here's a little bit of the backstory. There's this cat. His name was King Tut, and he lived on the hill coming out of here because this was my childhood home. But I would walk to the school bus every morning, and he would come out and meet me and flop down on his stomach or on his back, and his belly would be exposed, which most of you know that cats don't normally do that. Cats don't usually like their belly rubbed or any of their soft spots, basically. So any of the areas that if a predator were to get them there, it would probably kill them. And their belly is one of those. They try to protect it because it's a soft spot for them. And so they try to not expose that area unless they're very comfortable with you. But this cat, he would do it every day. He'd walk out into the road and flop down on his back. And my mom would always tell me not to rub cats on the belly because of what I just explained. But he did it every day, so I never thought anything about it. Um, well, on the way home from school that day, he rolled over on his back like he always did, and I reached down to give him a scratch, and I don't know if he was just having a bad day, or if something spooked him, or what went through his mind, because it was bad. He latched onto me with all of his front claws, all of his back claws, and his teeth. I literally have, well, you can see them right here, all these little circle scars right here on my arm. There's one right there, 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 two right there, one right there, one right there. I mean, they're all over my forearm. But anyways, that's not the point. He attacked me. By the time I got home, there was blood running all the way down my arm. I had my arm up like this because I was trying not to let the blood run down my shirt, but it was all the way down to my pants. And I didn't cry or anything until I got through the front door and saw my mom's face. Then I started bawling. But yeah, it was really bad. It was awful. My mom cleaned it all up, wrapped it up, all that good stuff, but it just wasn't getting better. So by 9/11, my mom decided to not take me to school that day, and she took me to the hospital. And I found out that I had cat scratch fever. I know it sounds crazy, but cat scratch fever is a real thing. It's from bacteria under a cat's fingernails or claws, especially outside cats, and this cat was definitely an outside cat. He was always outside. So I think they say 30% of cats carry this bacteria under their fingernails. Or claws, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so I got cat scratch fever. I've had cat scratch fever twice, to be exact. Um, but yeah, so I was in the hospital, and I had to go to the hospital for 3 days in a row and get IV treatments for it. I guess cat scratch fever can be a pretty serious thing. So luckily, my mom didn't wait too long until because people can die from it. But anyways, so I was in the hospital, and I was laying in my bed, and all of a sudden they come in and they said, a plane hit one of the Twin Towers, and we were like, what? We were shocked. We couldn't believe it. And we didn't know what was going on. And so a little while later, they came in and told us that another plane hit the second tower. And I don't really remember, I don't know if we turned the TV on or how that happened, but I do remember them coming in hours later and saying that that they were afraid because a plane had landed in Virginia, and then the plane that was going towards the Pentagon. And I remember at one point they were really scared because I was at WVU Hospital, Ruby Memorial, which has the biggest head trauma unit in the surrounding states. So they were afraid that the one that crash landed in Virginia was trying to come to West Virginia, and they thought that either, which is kind of why would they come to West Virginia? But, I'm sure everybody had a theory of where this plane was headed to. But they thought that maybe it was either coming for WVU, Ruby Hospital, or maybe it was going for Mount Weather. Why it would go there, I don't know, but that's an underground bunker for all the government if something were to happen here in West Virginia. It's this huge, nice ass shelter. And if anything were to ever happen, that's where all of our government would go, is here in West Virginia. So they thought that maybe they were aiming for that. They didn't know. So I remember being really scared and nervous. And yeah, it was just a really crazy day. And I remember finally going back to school and everybody telling me that that's all they did all day in school was watched it. And then they ended up, whenever the plane hit Virginia, and maybe it was the one that was in or towards the Pentagon, they let the kids go home from school. A lot of parents were coming and picking up their kids. Of course, not everybody went home, but I think most kids did go home because they didn't know where these planes were headed. So yeah, that's where I was on 9/11. Please leave me a comment down below. Where were you on this historical day? What were you doing? How did you find out what was going on? Did you know anybody that's life was taken? Did you know anybody that was affected by somebody's life being taken? I just want to know your stories. I want to know how 9/11 affected you personally. Since I told you how it affected me personally. But damn, can we just go back to how we were September 11th, 2001 and come together with all this craziness going on in the world right now? Let's stop tearing each other apart and fighting each other. It's a scary world out there right now. And instead of not being able to trust my neighbor or my own family or friends, I want to be able to lean on them and lean on you guys that support me, because I already do that. I depend on you guys a lot for support because I don't have a big real life support system, and that's what YouTube is for me. It's a support network, and I want to be that for you guys too. So yeah, let me know your 9/11 story down in the comments. Even if you don't live in the United States, I'm sure you have a story as well. So I love y'all so much. Never forget all the lives that were lost that day, because we don't want those lives to be lost in vain, or lost for no reason. I love y'all so much, and I'll see you later.